Yeah, hey guys, it's Ian here from Gatehouse. Thanks for checking out the video. So in this video, I'm going to show you how to use bridges in your writing. Now, a bridge is a really flexible tool that gets you out of a story and lets you bring in a relevant business point. Because I love stories, I love kind of finding attention-grabbing ways to make somebody read something, but without that, that relevant business message, there's no point. And sometimes connecting a story with a relevant business message can be difficult because how do you join the two? The answer is that you use a bridge. In the video, I'm going to give you my 5 favorite bridges, and to the left or right of this video, there's a little file, a PDF file with some other bridges as well that you can kind of steal and use in your own writing. So let's go ahead. Here's the video. Hope you like it. If you do like it, leave a comment below. That'd be really cool. All right, I'll see you on the other side.
Okay guys, good to see you again. So in the first video, we covered finding hooks using Amazon. Hopefully you've been able to have a go at that. I hope you had fun. We also talked about how leading with a quick, interesting story is the best way to really make people, number one, read your writing, but number two, consider you an interesting person that they're perhaps going to pay attention to in the future. Now, stories are all very well. Nobody is a bigger fan than stories than me. But let's be honest. For most of us, at some point, we got to get down to business. At some point, you need to move the reader from your story to the actual point that you're trying to make, right? Now, it just so happens there is a great way to do that. It's called the bridge. A bridge lets you move from your hook, that's your story, to your main message seamlessly. The bridge is really important because without a bridge, all you've really got is an interesting story. And it's when you bring those things together, a killer story and a relevant message, that's when you become somebody really worth paying attention to. Now, the bridge can come anywhere in your copy. There's no rule to say where you have to put it. You can see, if you look at this email that I sent, my bridge is in the middle. It's a little story about how if you put 2 plates of identical food in front of a cat, the cat will always eat the plate with the smallest amount of food on it. It's almost like somebody taught cats the value of scarcity. It's really weird. If you have a cat, try that. Anyway, it's a pretty good story, and I was able to bridge from that hook into a point telling people not to email other people too much because less is more, right? That was a fairly easy bridge to write, to be honest. But I could have bridged from that story into any number of different things because the hook is so flexible. If you look at this email, the bridge comes right at the end. I found this story from Chip and Dan Heath's book, Made to Stick, about this successful little newspaper in the United States. And this email is all about how this little newspaper could get every single person there to read it. At the end, right at the end, it bridges into a relevant point by suggesting you do something similar in your organization. Now, there are plenty of ways to bridge. You can go really, really elaborate if you like, but I always like to keep it simple. In fact, I try and keep my bridge to 1 or 2 lines. Now, I'm thinking at this point it might be helpful if I showed you my 5 favorite bridges, the ones I use the most often myself, so you can see how they work and maybe copy them in your own writing. Okay, here's the first one. I love this story because... Honestly, you can use this in any number of different ways. So I love this story because it shows how great ideas can come from anywhere. I love this story because it shows how little it takes to bring people together. That kind of thing. Another bridge is, it's a nice reminder of how. So you can see lots of different options for using that here. It's the same in our industry. This is a really flexible hook. You can come out of a lot of great stories and go straight into something relevant to your organization. That's all you need. It's the same in our industry, and then go straight into your point. Clearly, there's an important lesson here for us. Again, this is a really flexible one. You tell them what you want to tell them, and then you tell them what you want them to know. Really simple. You can use that in lots of different ways. So clearly there's an important lesson here for us. Whether it's personal or business, never forget that you're tweeting for your brand. Clearly there's an important lesson here for us. Never give up. Another good bridge is, what's the takeaway here? So what's the takeaway here? Once you've decided to apologize, say sorry properly. What's the takeaway here? When it comes to compliance, no detail is too small to be important. Now notice how all these 5 hooks, I love this story because it's a nice reminder of how, it's the same in our industry. Clearly there's an important lesson here for us. What's the takeaway here? They all focus the reader's attention back on the copy. They all bring the reader back down to earth and get them to focus on what you're going to say next. The thing with bridges is not to overthink them. It really is. Keep them short. Bridge over to your main point as smoothly and as quickly as possible. 1 or 2 sentences max before you conclude your point. whatever you do, don't make the mistake that I used to make. Basically, I used to really go to town on my bridge. I used to really ram home why the story I just shared was relevant to them. So if I spent like 300 words developing my hook, I'd spend another 300 words on the bridge, tying it all together and making a really watertight comparison. But what happens if you do that is you come off like a vicar giving a sermon. You keep yo-yoing back up to the hook again and again. So don't overdo the bridge. I know it feels like you have to have a good excuse for sharing the story that you've just told them. But the thing is, if a story's good enough, nobody will really stop to question why it is that you shared it with them. They're just pretty grateful that you did. If you like, the way you can think of it is you and your reader are co-conspirators. They want the candy and you want the attention. So listen, now you know how to write a bridge, the part of your writing where you fade down the story and bring in the business case. Hopefully you get the idea, but to help you, I put together a PDF download with some like ready-made bridges that you can keep handy. Just download it using the link next to this video. Now before I leave you, I just want to share one more important thing. If you're able to find amazing hooks, like we did in the last video, and if you're able to bridge really nicely into a relevant point, like we've looked at in this video, you're already ahead of 99% of business writers who either don't know about this stuff or they just don't care. So what I want to share with you in the next and final video is how to really tie all this stuff together. I'm going to sit down with you and show you how to write something from start to finish. Along the way, I'm going to show you 5 tricks. I know this sounds a bit cheesy, but I call them readability hacks. The little techniques, tweaks that you can apply to any piece of writing to make it very easy to read. Even if you can't start writing every piece of copy with like a little story or a kind of crazy tale, you can still use every one of the tools that I'll share with you in the next video to make sure that you've got your reader's focus. So listen, stay tuned and I'll send that over in a couple of days' time.